I think for me a favorite place is a place where you feel good, where you feel at home and relax, but also a space that energizes you and inspires you as well. And I think also maybe a space where you want to spend more time and you kind of forget the time when you are there in that space. I'm Dieter Vander Velpen. I'm an architect and designer, and I run an office called Dieter Vander Velpen Architects. We're based in Antwerp. We're a team of about 16 people, architects, interior designers, and we work mostly on beautiful homes all over the world, in Europe, in USA, in Asia, Middle East. There's always multiple favorite spaces, but for the moment, one of our favorite spaces, and the reason why we're doing this here, is actually our new office, which is a building that we moved into about a year and a half ago, and for me now is a very inspiring space and also a space where we spend a lot of time. So it was very important for us to really create a space that would become a favorite space of me, but also of our team, and I realize now that it really worked. Even though we're still fine-tuning and improving the space, it's already a space where I love to spend time, and as I mentioned, like a space where you forget time, and that's definitely something that happens here to me. Like you can be working and suddenly it's late in the evening, and it's a space where you want to be at different moments as well, not just during office hours, but also it's a space that does, because there's a lot of skylights, there's a lot of windows, so the light also changes a lot during the day, and it's also nice to be here in the evenings even, and I think that's important to create a favorite space. I think a favorite space will always be probably it could be the same one that evolves, or it could be a new one, and probably it's more something that there will be multiple favorite spaces, like subsequently in the future. Maybe we move into another one, and that gets me excited and inspired for a certain amount of years, but then maybe you want to do something new or start over in a different place, or do the next thing that is maybe even more special or more unique or more difficult, a new challenge, let's say. Growing up, I think favorite places were mostly walking around in historical cities in Europe. It's because I think a favorite place, it can be a building, but it can also be outside, and it can be, and I think for me this was mostly like being surrounded by beautiful buildings like Rome, Paris, Vienna, these kind of cities, and I used to travel a lot also with my parents to these kind of cultural places, visiting museums, visiting beautiful castles and palaces, which was very inspiring for me, and I think that's definitely some of the favorite places from my childhood. To create a favorite place for another person, I think it's very important to get to know them very well, and I think that's the crucial first step when we take on a project, when we design a private home, which is the core of what we do. It really takes time to get to know the clients, and we sit down for a very long chat about how they like to live, basically, and walking around their future home, just room by room, and trying to understand what's important for them in that space, and how they go about their life, what's their morning routine, what's their evening routine, where do you have your coffee when you get up, and by going through these rooms also trying to see what else is important, and not just what exact elements are important, but why they are important to them maybe, and then by doing this kind of discussions or conversations, it usually leads to understanding them a bit better, or seeing maybe also elements that they don't mention, but that you then understand that are actually really important for them, and not just functionally, but also in terms of, do you like a more bright space or a dark space for this kind of function, and all those elements, or favorite materials, favorite colors even. We always try to be not too specific, but more like really trying to go deeper and seeing what's really the thing that they want for those rooms. And by then using those elements in a design concept, you can make sure that it has the potential to become a favorite place for them and a functioning home for them, where they will just be happy living there, enjoying their life. And that really works for them because it's very personal, and everybody has a different kind of taste, not just stylistically, but more about the moods that they want in certain places. And then hopefully by the moment they move in, it feels like a tailored suit. You know, that's the whole idea of our approach. To determine which projects we take on, I think there's a few elements that are really important, and the main thing is the client. We need to have a connection in both ways, otherwise it's not gonna work, because designing a private home, it's a very long undertaking. We're together working for like 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4 years or more on some complex projects. So it's very intense. You see those clients a lot, sometimes weekly. Some clients you hear, in some periods you hear them daily, or you see them on sites or in meetings. So they allow you in a very personal level into their life. So there needs to be a good connection there. That's very important. And then the second part is the location or the context. Is it a beautiful plot? Is it an existing building that has some kind of interesting characteristic that we can do something? I think that's very important. And then the third element perhaps might be the idea of the client for the home. Do they have like a special ambition for the home, and do they want to create something really special? It's a cliche that architects always say that the latest project is their favorite project, but it is actually very true, because it's such an intense process. So when a project is under construction or nearly complete, that's the project where like a lot of your attention goes. And even though we are like always working on multiple projects at the same time, but for example now we just got back last week from a trip to the United States, where we finished a project in Jackson Hole in Wyoming. And that's a project also where we worked on for more than 4 years. And now just being there, being able to finish the project, seeing it all come together after all this time, because the first 2 years you're working just on drawing just virtually, then you have the construction, then you have the interior design coming in, then you have the furniture coming in, and then now to seeing it all together, be able to be there, seeing the client engage with the house, walk around in the house, enjoy just sitting there and taking in all different spaces. I think that's a super exciting moment. And so I would say, if you ask me today, then today this is my favorite project. A favorite building to design or to build for us, I think, or like a dream, let's say, would be to do a ground-up home in Los Angeles, on really like a kind of iconic location in the hills or on the cliffs, and build a home there that will be a timeless home, that will be still there in 50 and 100 years, that maybe people would look up to in the future, or even visit. I think that would be a dream. Yeah. As a legacy, I feel that the goal is to leave behind kind of a collection of beautiful homes in beautiful locations all over the world, and that's a collection of like unique homes, but still homes that share a subtle signature as a returning element, but still unique, different homes with a connection to the client and a connection to the place, but homes that are timeless and that will still be inspiring in the future. I think that's the goal. Timeless is definitely part of the signature, yes. I think the homes we want to create should be warm, should be timeless indeed, and with the combination of beautiful natural materials and homes where people love to spend time and can live their life in a beautiful way. In terms of materials, I think my two favorite materials are wood on one side and natural stone, and specifically marble on the other side. The natural materials, but there's so many different ones, so there's always something new to discover, but also the combinations of those are endless. The combination of a specific wood with a specific natural stone, and I think it's these combinations that can be unique, can be always new. That's something that definitely drives us in our work, and where we try to keep innovating. The classic materials, like wood is probably the first material ever used to build homes, and stone has also been used for thousands of years, but still we try to find innovative ways to use them in a contemporary way. But it's materials that make people feel good and have, in my eyes, a kind of innate beauty in them already. Definitely if there are like special types of wood or special types of stone, and even within a certain type of stone or wood, every piece is still different. Every time you use a certain wood, it can turn out a little bit different, or the color is a little bit different, and this makes it interesting as well. It's not like you have a specific paint color where it's always going to be exactly this kind of color. With a marble type also, you can go every year to the same quarry and still find different slabs of the same type of marble, and this makes every project also unique. And also as a client living in the home, you know that these slabs that maybe form like your shower walls are unique to your bathroom. And I think that's something really special and a kind of luxury to have in your home. I think now my favorite in terms of wood would probably be exotic woods, and that is something that is exciting me, and is something that we are researching and trying to use in different ways. And one good example would be, for our kitchen cabinets behind me, which are in Ziricote veneer from Decospan that we found in your warehouse, and that I think had been there for like maybe more than 2 decades already. The special thing is also it's a limited amount of pieces of wood that form this batch. Let's say there's other pieces, but they will look very different. And then also you have the combination of finding a certain type of wood like this Ziricote, but then the treatment you do on top of it also defines the color, the look and feel. For example, for here we really wanted to create a very warm, exotic look and bring out the red tones in it even more, while you could go with the same wood towards a colder tone or towards slightly more gray or darker. And here, by making it a bit warmer, also the drawing really pops and comes out, and I think is something really beautiful, just the material already in itself. And yeah, that's something we're now playing with, experimenting with, and trying to see what else is out there and what else we can bring into a project. I think, and I hope also that interior design in the future will evolve into even more like more detailed or more personal interiors in multiple places. And I think there's so many materials that still can be used or combined, so there's an endless supply of new inspiration, I think, and I hope people will adopt some of those things and would dare to use those into their private homes as well. There's always materials that deserve more love, but one of the things, for example, that again we are now experimenting and playing with is lacquered woods. Something that is new for us, that of course has been used in the past very often, that was perhaps considered maybe more out of style in private homes, but now that we are trying to bring back again in new and innovative ways. And also something that we used here in our office for our library island, which you'll see in another space, where we used a walnut burl wood veneer, but then it received like a treatment where it's polished, it's hand lacquered and then polished in 7 or 8 layers by hand, and it gives this very special, nearly liquid touch to the wood. And the contrast between that glossy lacquered wood with the rough concrete we have here in this space is something really interesting and inspiring. And it's this kind of contrast that is perhaps also a signature touch maybe in our projects, where we look for the contrast between the rough versus the soft, or the dark versus the light, and create this kind of juxtapositions that create a little bit of drama in a space, and keeps things interesting and new and playful. By finding the good partners in the beginning, you should avoid having a bad result at the end. So I think that it all starts there, of course. You need to find a good match with the client, make sure everybody is on board, and then also there's still a lengthy process. So during the process you can still adapt, and even if certain things don't align immediately, you can still try to fine-tune or adapt to make them better, or even if some ideas turn out to be in reality not feasible or not ideal, but then it's a conversation. It's not just a one-way direction. It's they have ideas, we have ideas, we try to bring them together or kind of guide them in the right way, but sometimes also they come with very interesting ideas, and I think that's also what I like about working with private clients, that they bring inspiration too, they bring unique ideas, and if you work with interesting people with a interesting personality, it kind of feeds inspiration into the project. So we're actually very much open to that, and then trying to make it all come together. We've been working now with Decospan for multiple years, and I think we ended up together in our quest for unique, beautiful, natural materials, and we just love to always look for new materials, and we like that there's kind of so many different wood species available, some old ones, some new products, even some new materials, and that's just giving us new inspiration to create these new combinations together with other materials, and that's why we like this collaboration.